I recently reviewed this nifty little 14-inch 2-in-1 laptop with the latest AMD Ryzen 7 CPU and enough of everything else to make a capable casual gaming device. This video is my chance to go through more details with how it all works out, both with complex games and those that are a little bit easier on the system requirements. Let's dive right in.
Slap Tech.
First up is Snake Pass. If a laptop can run this game at 1200p in max detail settings, it can run anything. Usually, this takes at least an RTX 4050, and the integrated Radeon 780M has a little bit of trouble in medium details. Other laptops with the same GPU and better cooling, like the ThinkPad P14s Gen 5, rarely drop below 60 FPS, so sure, the IdeaPad 5 isn't letting the 780M perform as well as it possibly can, but it's only down about 10% from its full potential, which isn't half bad. Doom Eternal runs well enough at 1200p medium details most of the time, but performance tends to dip when it counts, like large environments and crowded kill rooms. Not the end of the world with a mouse and keyboard, but very noticeable with a controller. Lowering the resolution to 1000p is the key here that will keep the FPS closer to 60 in most cases. It's either that or dropping the texture and lighting detail in max resolution. Next up is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We'll keep our expectations low and the details in medium and start at 1000p. Wandering through the Peruvian jungle nets us a decent 40-ish FPS. It's a playable frame rate, but not a great frame rate. Moving down to the low details preset helps quite a bit and lets us dance around 60, which is very acceptable. If I wanted to come as close as I ever will to controlling a strong, independent woman, this is how I do it. It's time for some choring in Valheim. Without a mainstream GPU, it's best to keep most of the details in low, with only the grass and detail distance sliders pushed up by 1 tick. In 1200p, it's still a manageable experience since it's not a fast-paced adventure. Lowering the resolution to 1000p, just like every other game so far, pushes the frame rate up past 50 for the most part, and 60 even graces us with its presence every once in a while. That's a lot of sacrifices for this title, but it works out in the end. Trials of Mana represents games that are built with modern engines and don't bother to employ the most intensive GPU lighting and post-processing effects. Here in max details and 1200p, we're getting an ultra-smooth 60 FPS, and this performance is consistent across all environments and enemy encounters. Another example of this is the recently remastered classic Quake II, a minor difference being that it's pulling less than 20 watts most of the time to play this game, which you might think means that the battery life will be longer than the prescribed hour and 45 minutes of PC gaming, but nope, it's the same. This is most likely because MSI Afterburner is only tracking how much power is being sent to the GPU, while the CPU power draw is obscured. Continuing on, it's time for Diablo III. In this most intense environment, the 780M holds its own most of the time, but does succumb to seemingly random stuttering. Lowering the resolution to below native res will help mitigate that, but it's not absolutely necessary. There is the threat of slowdown messing up some clicks, but there's no threat of freezing on one frame and being dead the next. Rounding out PC gaming is Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, another remastered cult classic that takes advantage of modern API architecture to bring great performance to even upper-crust integrated GPUs. Wandering through a pretty intensive town scene yields promising results in max details at 1200p. There will be a few slight blips in an otherwise perfect experience with a slight dip in fluidity, but it might not be noticeable unless you're specifically looking for it. And if it is being noticed, there's plenty of headroom to lower the detail levels with and still have a visual feast on your hands. Now it's time to examine the retro gaming experience on the IdeaPad 5. Starting with the most complex of the commonly accessible consoles, the IdeaPad 5 mostly breezes through games with PCSX2 and Dolphin. The lack of dedicated VRAM does hurt, and loading new textures and audio assets does lead to stuttering, but once everything is cached, it's a smooth experience from there on out. At least the battery life gets a slight extension at a total of 2 hours and 30 minutes, which is a whole ass hour longer than PC games in battery saver. older 3D titles are no challenge for this laptop, naturally. And the lower power draw is something to actually be believed in this case, since it's only the CPU that's being utilized. As such, it'll stay on for just a little over 3 hours when playing games from this generation. Which leads us to 2D retro games. This is where the absence of the flash and flare of 3D games makes you pay attention to the peripherals, like the monitor, speakers, and battery life. The 360 rotation of the screen can make the IdeaPad feel more like a console than a laptop without the distraction of a keyboard in front of you. As for the screen itself, it holds its own as an IPS display with plenty of brightness, a neutral color palette that doesn't pop or is dull, ghosting that is apparent but very tolerable, and a reasonable amount of input lag. Where it falls short for the price segment is the speaker quality. While they're biased towards the treble range, these speakers struggle to fill a room, and it would be wise to employ a good pair of headphones. And the battery will last for about 4 hours while playing 2D retro games, a testament to the lack of comprehensive software implementation to keep the power draw to a minimum. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a PC that performs with speed like lightning no matter what miserly power mode you're in, but it would also be nice to have a machine that tries to compete with the Intel Core Ultra 7 equipped laptops that last for 6 hours doing this kind of stuff. In conclusion, I hope this video gives you a good idea about its gaming capabilities. It struggles a lot when playing the latest AAA games, and I wouldn't even dare try anything like Helldivers 2, Starfield, or Diablo IV. Palworld is also right up, but that's only because Palworld is a game for psychos. Otherwise, for older and more casual games, it works just fine. It's not a perfect example of the Radeon 780M's performance, but at 90%, it's a great representation. I wish the battery lasted longer with 2D retro games, but 4 hours is still nothing to sneeze at. Like I said in the review, if the decision is between A, a gaming handheld and a cheap laptop, or B, just this laptop, I would go for just this laptop. Speaking of the review, it's linked in the top right corner. You should watch it. You might learn a thing or two. While you're at it, you should also like this video and subscribe to this channel. For reasons. Thanks for watching, and you guys, have a good night.